Okay, folks, call this meeting to order and stand for the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Oh, you're
I'm here.
You don't sound thrilled.
No, I
Well, don't feel like the Lone Ranger.
So I'm up, right?
Yep.
Okay, so what I'm here to talk to you about tonight is it's time for the renewal of the contract for my recording system. We've had co-file GovOS and Suzanne started that in about 2017-18. I'm going to say it's not that I'm unhappy with the system so much. I am more unhappy with the fact that co-file GovOS has now moved out of Vermont. They had a facility in Essex Junction. They could do a lot of stuff for us here. That no longer is the case. They're interested in big fish. We are not a big fish. We are not even as a state a big fish. Most of the state is now with a company called COT System. And I would like to switch from GovOS co-file. Co-file sold part of it, and no one seems to know what the other half does. And they don't talk to each other. And I am missing 8 years of images. This goes back to when Suzanne was here. And I finally have got them so that they have found these 8 years of images. There's something, because for months they were just saying, oh, they're gone, they're gone. But as they have found it, they have proven to me that yes, they do have them. I am now trying to get them to upload them to the system. I heard from them today. They said at least 45 days, and maybe then they'll go on. So that's not making me overly happy with them either. I have researchers calling, complaining that they can't get into the system. They can't pay through the portal, and I can't help them with that. Switching to a system that everybody else uses and everyone else likes better, I think is a way to go. The issue is the upfront hit of $20,000, which, while we're spinning our heads on that one, and I'm with you, I have more than that, and I did ask Darcy this afternoon for some figures, but I think last year at this time I had $46,000 in my restoration account, which grows every year. I'd happily take it out of that to do this. The monthly fee, just so you have a clue of, once you bite that bullet, there is still the monthly fee, which is $315. All in. Co-file is going, I'm paying $385 now. It is going up to $457.38. So that's a pretty good jump. Co-file, every image someone takes from that system, they get dinged $3.50 a page, which is a lot. COTS gives you a little flexibility. They take $1. Most towns take $1, and I've got feelers out to find out if everyone takes $1. We can change that. We could up it a little bit. But I think when I'm watching my service and the quality of my service diminish with co-file, I mean, I would call them up and just say, this is Danny, and they all knew me. Now the turnover, I talk to somebody different all the time. It's just not the same as it was, but we're just too small. The whole state is just too small for them. So I think I think for people who are dealing with the town, it's just a wiser move at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not looking forward to learning a new system, but I think in the long run it's going to be better kind of for everybody.
Okay.
So what you're asking us is to take 20,000 out of your records restoration
It's- I-
capital
yeah,
reserve
it's-
and
I
pay the
think-
one-time cost? It looked like you had 40, if this number on the list we got was right, looks like you got 46,174.62.
Okay.
So you
I
have,
have plenty.
we
Yeah.
have money.
Yeah, and
Uh,
I think it's gonna be, and I'm still waiting for the last kind of tweaking, but I believe it's 20,715 in that ballpark. But if we stay with this company for years, just the change in what per year that they're, per month that they're charging is gonna make a big dent in it. And if people that will use the system are happier with it, then I'm happy with it. Because I don't like getting calls saying I can't get into it. That doesn't, make me look very good.
Sounds to me like you're talking like 1,400 a year right now in the savings.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
know,
who
and
doesn't want to save right now?
I don't mind saving money.
Yeah, that'll, as time goes, and everything goes up, but I think co-file's gonna go up at a bigger chunk, and maybe to get rid of some of the smaller towns, who knows at this point, but.
My only question is, are we gonna be able to make sure we have them images before
Well,
we,
yeah,
before we pull the
that's
plug?
what I'm gonna talk to, really, and trying to get a hold of this woman is like pulling. She always writes back, I write to her and say, where is it going? Where are we? Oh, I was thinking of you today. She thinks of me constantly. She just doesn't email me. So I'm gonna make sure that that's gonna work well. The guy I work with at Co-File is very nice, but he's told me, GovOS, they're not interested in small potatoes anymore. They've broken into the system, into the whole world of recordings, and now they're just going after the bigger fishes, fish than we are. He's been great. He's very responsive. In fact, I just talked to him a few minutes ago just to make sure I was reading the contract right. And in fact, their contract, which they sent to me, has last year's dates on it. That's how careful they're being.
And when does our contract with what we have run out?
It ends next month, but in talking to them, they will go by a month to month for a few months. That's not an unheard of thing.
I just would like to make sure we get all our
Oh,
images.
Lord, I'm not doing anything without those 8 years, But I also don't want them to hold us hostage,
Right.
that to hold us hostage. And
Right.
I would say push come to shove, maybe a letter from the town lawyer saying, do something about it. This has actually started during COVID, Suzanne. They came and took the books from the vault, took them up to Middlesex, scanned them all, brought them back, and then never uploaded them, and then said to me, well, we can't find them, we don't know where the scans went. So that didn't make
She's
me
looking
happy.
for,
So the biggest thing is compatibility, if you can get what you have already.
That is already, they've already looked at it. I've had, Cox has been here, they've looked at my system, the only new equipment I will need is a different kind of scanner, which I'm understanding is a fraction of the size of the scanner I have currently, which, any inch in my office is looked at, with great joy to have another couple inches. But I'm getting a new computer anyway, that's in my budget for this year. Not that they said what I have is compatible. So everything will flow. They know how to make it flow. It's just those 8 years that, come hell or high water, we're gonna have.
What's your pleasure, folks?
I think we should do it.
put that in
Sounds
form
almost
of,
like
put that in a
a motion.
motion, a form of a motion, and we'll,
I
be
make a
there.
motion that we change this. Change the.
do you need some specific,
We need to come
dollar
over.
amount and who to?
I missed the question.
Go ahead, you ask your question first.
Well, I mean, in the motion, do you need the dollar amount and you called it, what?
Can we make it like, not to exceed 25,000?
Okay.
That we would cover
Sure.
anything that I'm,
Rich is making the motion not to exceed 25,000 coming out of your reserve
Right.
account
That's the,
for the initial system and the monthly,
no, just
oh no,
the
just initial,
initial
for the initial system from, did you call it COT?
COT, COTT,
COTT
system.
system. That sounds like Rich's motion.
I'll second that.
Nice job, Rich.
Okay.
Everybody
makes-
understand what we're doing?
Okay?
I apologize. You're okay. Don't, I apologize.
We'll fill you in.
Okay. You can sit this one out.
From their records restoration capital reserve fund.
Yeah.
Capital reserves.
Yep.
One more time. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Good luck.
Oh, thank you.
Done and done. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
It's unanimous.
Michael filled me in. He pieced it together. He's pretty smart.
Yeah, picked right up on that. Okay, town clerk is off. Rutland Regional, how do?
That's me.
Haven't seen you since Benson, I don't think.
Yeah, a couple of days ago. So Maggie O'Brien, you might recall I was here earlier this calendar year to promote the kickoff of our regional plan update. We are now in phase 2 of our community engagement, which we've called Report Back. So this engagement really has 2 purposes. One being to seek our community's reaction on the input that we thought we heard from you guys in phase 1, which was earlier in the calendar year. And then to seek a reaction on the draft policies that came out of the input that was given to us in phase 1. So just as a quick review for those of you who might not remember, the Rutland Regional Plan is an 8-year comprehensive plan meant to guide community economic development. And so community economic development is essentially just a way of saying economic development that balances other priorities like the environment, the environment, I'm blanking, but, so the phase 1 was from January to April, and we had over, so we had presentations in all of our 27 towns. We had 21 pop-up events, where we literally had a table that we popped up at and had information about our plan update, looking to seek reactions. We also had 5 community houses, and for our survey, we had over 1,200 responses, which was well over our goal of 1,000, so that was good to have. This time, the net reach that we're going for is a little bit smaller, because now that we have those broad range of responses, we're kind of more in the refining process. So we're still doing 27 presentations in all our towns. The pop-up numbers are much less. So it's closer to, I think, 5 even. So 5 pop-ups, which one of your select board members saw me in Benson for mine. And so, let's see. So we have another survey, which it's a little different from the first survey. It lists all of the draft policies that we have for each of our chapters, and kind of ask for a general reaction on if these policies are headed in the right direction based on what we told you, and is there anything missing that we should be considering at this point? Because we're at about the midpoint of the regional plan update at this point, and changing the policies after this period of time is going to be much more difficult. So now is the time to get that input. So again, looking to see if there's agreement with the key takeaways of how our input influenced, how your input influenced the policies, and then if there's anything missing that we should consider at this point. So we still have our landing page open. That's rutlandrpc.org/plan 2026. That's where you can find updated information about where we are in the plan development process, as well as the survey itself. We are also having what we're calling a hybrid feedback session on October 30th at our office at 16 Evelyn Street in Rutland. So this is where each of the chapter authors talk about the policies for their chapter, and explain how the input shaped those policies, and then we get a live reaction from the participants that are present. So you can do it either in person or virtual, as hybrid suggests. And so we would really like to hear from you guys on this. And as part of this, I have packets to hand to the select board that have the policies, draft policies listed for each of the chapters. Obviously, you don't have to read it tonight, it's a lot of text. But just sit with it and think about it, and we would like to hear your input either via the survey or if you decide to attend the hybrid feedback session. Just to make sure that we're really going in the right direction and reflecting what our region wants to see moving forward, so.
Yeah. And just a comment, is this the same as the email we had with the survey where you take the phase 2 survey? I got an email from Rutland Regional Planning Commission with all the policies and they wanted comments on each of the policies.
Yeah, that sounds.
Is that, if that's the one?
Yep.
I thought I saw that you did take a lot of the feedback from phase 1 because I saw it in there. So yeah, it's good. They have one, when they send an email, it's pretty painless and it didn't take that long to take the survey.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I mean, the reading is probably going to take the most time. So. And so I will hand these out to you guys so you can take a closer look. There's also a little slip with the QR code if you want to go to the website directly. Pass that along with these, Joe.
I can pass away.
Take the whole file and we'll just make sure they get around.
And a couple of extras for the town office. And then the last thing I want to plug while I'm here, so Fairhaven just kicked off their local hazard mitigation plan update. And as part of that, we are borrowing from our regional plan update and utilizing some community engagement strategies. So we also have a survey for the risk assessment portion of the plan, just getting people's general reactions on what hazards they think are of highest risk to the towns and what assets are most vulnerable. We're about halfway through the survey period and we have one response so far.
I responded to one of those.
So,
There's one response.
That might be the one response.
it might be yours. So, I just want to kind of plug that to the select board. If you could spread the word about that so we can get as much input from the community as possible to really help shape our risk assessment, which we're conducting next Friday. That would be good. And the website for that is tinyurl.com/Fairhaven.
tinyurl.com.
Yes, it's just a way to make a domain name shorter, essentially. So tinyurl.com/Fairhaven-LHMP25. There's a posting on the town's Facebook about this. I'm also placing a couple of these posters around town, if you would rather get the website from that, but we'd love to have more input on that so we can actually use the results effectively.
And didn't you send an email of that as well?
Yes, my colleague Greg did.
No, I was gonna say, because they did both of them at the same time.
Yeah, it's
knew
just
that
the way
was-
it ended up working out.
Yeah. But I thought of you, Bob, because of the cold weather and wanting to have the shelter and all that good stuff. Thought it needed a little more help there.
I
So,
guess I
yeah.
better respond.
We'd appreciate it. Any questions?
No.
All right, awesome.
Good.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming. Thank you, Nate.
Okay.
Hey, Jason,
Yes.
Cindy has decided to stay till March.
Oh, okay, that's great, that's wonderful. So, good evening.
Have a good one, Jason. Okay, solar project. Moving right along. I bet these gentlemen are happy that we're moving right along. Okay.
Solar project and setback, Dave Hazel.
Yes, thank you very much for having us tonight. We are here to essentially introduce us, myself, Dave Hazel with Freepoint, and also Reed Wills, who's going to provide a brief update on our project and our ask with the setback agreement.
Yeah, hi. So just wanted to thank you for the opportunity to speak to the board. Freepoint Solar has 3 projects that are going in Vermont right now. We're quite far along at Shaftesbury. We've actually gone through the whole Public Utility Commission process. We started in May of 2023 and had hearings this summer and would expect a decision there coming out in the next couple of months. The process, you all may be familiar with it, or otherwise I'll do the best I can to answer questions, but It involves all state agencies, and obviously the town and residents in the town there's a lot of different venues for people to participate. There will be, with this project, a open house at which the PUC presides. Usually before that, there'll be a public information session, so there'll be a little background on the project, and then people are invited to come up and speak. There's usually a site walk where everybody gets to go and see exactly where everything's going to go, and there'll be maps provided and things of that nature. And then the PUC does a nice job of having an online platform, so it's easy for people to register if they have letters, comments, things of that nature. We've got quite a bit of traffic at Shasberry. I think we've managed it pretty effectively. So far, we have now filed our 248 petition for this particular project in the town of Fairhaven. There has been no public comment so far that have been made on the project, so we see that as positive, but also it's early, and as people learn about it, we're probably going to get more feedback, and we're happy to take it. One of the things we're very proud of, all the agencies get involved, all the agencies are allowed to comment on what our plan is, as will the Rutland Regional Planning Commission. And what is our goal and what we achieved at Shasberry is to enter into agreements. There we entered into an agreement with the town of Shasberry and with all of the agencies that had a stake in our process, so whether it's historic preservation, natural resources, ag markets. We have working agreements with that. All of this information is all out there in the public domain. So that's our goal. It's a very interactive process, and we know this is very early for all of you, but the information is not only online, but will be presented in these public forums that I think make it easy and accessible not only for this board, but be it your planning commission, other residents of interest. There's good platforms for that. So we really appreciate how the town has worked with us. That's mostly been with Joe, also with the zoning administrator, who is
Phil Adams.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So we actually did a little subdivision down there. I think some of you may be aware, Green Mountain Power has done a 45-day notice saying they're going to upgrade, move their substation. They actually came to us and said, we'd like to do that in cooperation with your project. So we've been working very closely with them for the last couple of years. And that's property that's right on Route 4. It's part of Bischoff's property. We actually have gotten a subdivision approved, and we're going to be taking title to that at some point in the next 60 days. So that land will come over from Bischoff to GMP and Freepoint, and it'll be just another indicator that both these projects are moving forward. So if there's anything I can address, we have asked for some relief on setback. We've talked with Joe about a host town agreement, which is what we did with the town of Shasberry. At the appropriate time, we'll come back and have that discussion. We've talked about doing improvements. It was requested of us to, and it gets a little confusing, Airport Road goes to Munger Road, and it's, where one stops at one end gets a little confusing, but in any event, we've agreed to do some improvements down there. One ask we had was, if we're going to do those improvements, if we get some relief on the setback. And that, I believe, has been put on your agenda. So that, we don't want to take up a lot of your time. You got a very full agenda, but, it's a privilege to be here, and it's been very cooperative spirit with the town, and we look forward to moving forward in that way.
Questions, anyone? I just have one. What's the need for the setback? Can't you go towards?
Mud Brook?
Yeah, well, it would be
That's
the east. Out back there. Okay.
That's the squeeze there. If the road
Okay.
is here, Mud Brook is here, and
Yep.
so there's kind of nowhere to go, so it's been helpful. You know, you may not be surprised, we have a whole bunch of people out there digging very small holes for the Department of Historic Preservation, so, you know, we spent a lot of time and effort to recover one triangular object that was not historical significance, but it was enough to prompt more digging. So we have no fly zones in effect. They're out there, none of this would be a surprise. And, you know, there's some critters, there's grass and bird, and there's other types of things that is all part of the development process, not only in Vermont, but we do a lot of business in New York as well. It's pretty similar. So anyhow, that's the squeeze, and I apologize for rambling a little bit.
No, that's all right.
No.
It's been a process.
Can I come back
Sure.
with a question? So, if you do the 50-foot setback versus the 100-foot, the only thing that came to my mind is right now you look at Munger Road, and it has this tree line type of a hedgerow. With a 50-foot setback, because that, will there still be some kind of tree line or hedge, or will it be all open? That was the only thing that
There's no trees coming down.
Correct.
On Munger Road. The trees go up about 2/3 of the way.
Right.
And then the top third, we're actually gonna plant trees.
Okay.
So we're actually adding trees there because we understand, you know, people do use
When they drive
old
up to-
airport space,
Or
but also, you know, maybe there'll be other things, since the town owns the property that you wanna do in the future, so we wanna reduce the visual impact there.
Any questions?
I think it's a good thing.
I really do. Probably the most opposition you're gonna get is from the old guys that sit there and look for deer. So you're gonna have to do some planing.
Okay.
You're looking for a motion?
I would say so, to adopt that resolution, yeah.
I'll make a motion to support this setback agreement to 50 feet, and also include in that we have Bob Richards sign this as our duly authorized agent.
Second?
I'll second that.
Questions, comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
Unanimous.
Unanimous.
And part of your motion is the Bob Waters.
But is going to be the duly authorized agent to sign for the select
For the
board in the
select
town. On this particular,
Gotcha.
You have an official one of it?
Yes,
You can sign that one.
sign that one and give it right back to him. Because I'm pretty sure that those two gentlemen are looking to see if you've got a signature on that one. Come out of here. That's what I'd be looking for.
Either one of us or Wendy Lewis,
Chad-
so we'll
Chad
have to
did.
take that back.
It
We'll
don't-
take that back and-
Either one of us. Chad started to.
Got it.
I appreciate the attention to detail of the landscaping. I think the biggest complaint that I hear around town is the visual and how the solar projects look, and having the trees, certainly.
So we'll have them there. We're also going up Scotch Hill Road. So really, it's as you come down Scotch Hill Road, the one place where you really see something of the scale that we're talking about is with that elevation and looking down. So we're actually going to put some extra trees. The Roberts family has agreed to allow us to put some
Trees up there too.
So that there'll be a little bit of it. And, you know, we're trying not to overdo it so that you can still see the valley from some angles. It's a beautiful valley view. It's just trying to do some interruption. So
Right.
that, anyhow, they have smart guys that do these landscape plans, and, you know, I think you're gonna like it as we, you know, roll it out, give it to you in more detail.
My family farm, that's where my father grew up,
Really?
Roberts.
Okay.
Very good.
They've been really great to work with. Sheldon's, you know, the first that we worked with, and obviously tough passing there with that family. But Jeff's been great, and you know, great family to work with. So
Good. Thank you for coming in.
it's sixth or seventh generation.
Yeah, well, we owe them our water.
As a matter of fact,
Understand if we're playing around on Munger Road, don't mess with the water.
don't mess with the water, no.
We do understand. All right,
Thank you.
all right, thanks so much.
Thanks,
Thank you. Look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
Amendments to the agenda.
Unless there's none tonight.
We have,
That's the spirit.
Keep them moving.
Approval of the minutes of October 1st.
make a motion to approve the minutes of October 1st, as written.
I'll second that.
Additions, deletions, corrections.
I have a couple.
Okay.
On page 1, I think it's the second paragraph, it looks like, Mr. Shaw stated that he's not asking for money from the town, state. It says of feds, I'm pretty sure it was meant to be, or it was probably the computer just automatically correcting
No,
that.
it's a typo.
On page 2, the part on the recovery home discussion, when you get to the very last paragraph where it says, Mr. Travers made a motion to support the request.
To not support.
Well, right, what it really was, Mr. Travers made a motion to not write a letter of support for the transitional housing. There's a big difference from not supporting and not writing a letter. And also where the last sentence, it said the motion failed. No, the motion passed. Not to
You're
write,
right, that
not,
motion passed.
not to write a letter of support for it, so. And those are the only,
I read that 14 times.
no,
and I
it was,
didn't catch
there was
that.
there was a lot going on. You did very well capturing
Yeah.
everything that was going on there, so.
To not,
Not supported. A
you
letter
want
of
me to take out
recommend.
the word support?
What has
To
to be
not-
there, it said right after made a motion to not, needs to be inserted, write a letter of,
Okay,
and then delete the request, and then the for transitional housing is good in that sentence.
thank you. Right.
Those are big ones.
Other than that, it's great.
Oh, there was a lot.
That was a tough one to
There was a
write.
lot, there was a lot to capture on that one.
That was a little wild. Everybody understand what changes are, what we're doing? All those in favor?
Aye?
And those opposed? Thank you. Okay. 5 minutes for public comment. John?
Yes, my name's Jonathan Bilowitz. I'm a resident here in Fairhaven. As you all are probably well aware, I was arrested on 8/13 or 8/30, cited for disorderly conduct. I'm here to let you guys know how and what the outcome of that was and is. The outcome is all the charges have been dropped against me. The court found no probable cause for the arrest, and that's going to lead to an unlawful arrest lawsuit against the police department and the town of Fairhaven. I have got documents I'd like to present to you. They are not a complaint. They are not considered service in any way, shape, or form. This is just merely for your reading pleasure. What is contained in here is the arrest paperwork, the state's paperwork, the amended charges the state hit me with, and the judge's resolution.
With all due respect, John, I don't, if you're gonna sue us, I don't think we should take anything from you.
No, that's
so-
your attorney talking to our attorney. We don't
Yeah.
want anything from you.
Right. So
Keep it.
keep it, and we'll get stuff from our attorney. Cause I'm afraid we're stepping on attorney's toes right now.
Right.
I wanna play this by the rules, so, no offense, but we're not gonna take anything from you, thank you. Okay?
It's
We'll get-
Compact TV. Enjoy your evening.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Just a quick comment, I know the last meeting, there was a lot going on, and not to beat a dead horse, but I just wanted to make sure that the public will be warned if Mr. Shaw comes back in to try to get that letter of support, that everyone will be warned and there'll be a special meeting for that.
Well, it may not be a special meeting, but it'll be in a different place. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
Okay, that's all.
Yeah, and it'll always be on the agenda, and we won't make any moves without an agenda item, for sure.
Okay.
And that includes the planning commission if it gets to that point too, so.
Okay,
So you'll see it both ways.
thank you.
Okay. Hey,
So, on that note, one of the things that Lillian had brought up, what I thought was a good point, maybe a little overdone, but I think it was a good point. How soon can we get upstairs ready for just such a situation?
A long time.
well, they're working on that, they were doing cameras today, right? You know, it's one of those things where we wanna get it as soon as we can, but we're dealing with staffing as much as anything.
Well, I was
And
just
then
wondering if we
we're
had
also-
some kind of timeline.
Well, and we're also, if I'm not mistaken, we're also looking,
Sorry. I'm
Joe.
sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
we're also waiting for heating, or heat pumps and things like that up there, right?
I remember you guys saying something about that. I'm just wondering, is there some kind of timeline?
Has the metal tubing wiring been removed first?
I'm not sure about that. It's not functional, let's put it that way.
Again, this is 5 minutes for public
Yeah.
comment, not for discussion on something
Well-
that hasn't been warned.
Well,
for
we
upstairs.
can answer questions, I mean, I don't mind that, I don't,
So the answer is no, we don't have a time.
we don't have a timeline. Any other questions? Anything else? Okay, moving right along, department head reports. You may look like you win,
You're the whole,
Yeah, where's everybody tonight?
I'm not sure.
you're the whole show.
I am the whole show. Okey dokey. Oh, it's gonna be quick tonight. We'll talk a little bit about recreation. Reese, our new rec director, had what he was calling a roundup up at Aubuchon, where, you know, they round up your bill for so many pennies, and then they hand that extra off to you, to the town. He raised $2,000 from that, so Aubuchon is gonna send a check for $2,000 for recreation department. We thank Aubuchon for helping the town with that. We wanted to make a point this year that we expanded soccer. This is a much improved soccer program this year. Better equipment, new balls. We're working on better jerseys, and Reese also expanded the number of games. So those of our kids that joined the rec, they actually got more games this year than they did in years past. So
Do you know the age groups, or is more than one age group? Or
There is more than one age group. I don't know the breakdown though.
Okay.
So moving on to my office.
5 minutes for public comment, sorry.
Do I have to be done?
No.
While we were cleaning out the second floor, we found some information about Munger Road. Apparently back in the 90s, the board decided to make Munger Road a class 4 road. I did send that to the state, and they'll accept that as, you know, putting Munger back on our list of roads. They're just gonna want a survey, which I do have a survey from most of the road when the town did some work out at the airport. So we're getting closer. That's been a long process, but we're getting closer to buttoning that one up.
If the guys from the solar project want to chip in, they're more than welcome to.
Yeah, they should have a survey, which
Yeah.
I've asked for a while. So folks don't freak out or get too upset. It is coming on time for our fall work, and the fountain will be removed from the park. It's getting cold. We don't want that to freeze up. Restrooms are gonna be winterized here pretty soon, and then the water's gonna be shut off at the cemetery and at the dog park in the next couple weeks. Just to get everybody the heads up on that.
Fall grading continues. You will see the guys out cleaning out storms and street sweeping if you haven't seen them already. They got the Bobcat and put the broom on it. The Doosan, the loader, also has a bucket they use. Fiscal year 24 audit began. Darcy, the new accountant, and myself are sending the auditor their requested documents. On November 12th, they'll have Ron Smith come in. He's going to be talking fiscal year 23 audit, which was last year's. Yeah, he's a little behind this year.
Fiscal year 23.
Yes, he'll be coming in to talk about that, as well as 24.
23, 24, right?
Yep.
Okay.
It was
Not
fiscal
last
year,
year, the year
he's
before.
coming in to report on fiscal year 23, 24.
Right.
Fiscal year 23 and talk about fiscal year 24.
Well, it's 23, 24.
23, 24 it covers our fiscal year from July 1 to July 1
Oh, yes.
is 23, 24, right? I was just trying to, because it's not a calendar year. I know
It's
what
not a calendar
you're,
year.
I know the question you were asking.
I'm still on a mistake on the minutes.
Don't let it bother you. Shake it off.
They're starting 24, 25,
Yeah, okay.
which is the current.
We've received the certificate of completion for the park lights and parking lot project. I'm thrilled to say that project is done. We're putting a pin in a lot of these. The culverts, if you've not been up to Scotch Hill Road, the culverts are in and the road's been raised, so it's not that belly's gone. Next week they said they'd get there and pave. We might have to give them a little leeway, because sometimes paving doesn't happen on time. So next week, maybe the week after, we'll see what happens. Let's see, the MOU for the school, I reviewed that and sent that off. I'm having them so there's some information they want added to that to protect the kids' identity, the children's identity, in case something happens on the playground. We don't want people to be able to, ask for public records and then see the kids. So they're gonna add some language to that. I asked that their lawyer add that, because we're not the experts in that field. And at 11 o'clock this morning, we sold the River Street property, and that check is deposited into the town's bank account. And that's what I have for you.
Questions for the TM?
I got one question. How's the pickleball courts coming along? Are we getting a lot of use on that? Is that started?
Yep, they're up. People have been using them, and I got good feedback from Miss Padroni. Padroni?
Laura Padroni.
Yeah, Laura Padroni. She said her and her partner out there playing. Yeah, they like it.
I'll see if I can get down there and take some lessons.
I just wanted you to know that I've heard some good things about it down there. So it's
work.
being talked
Good.
about.
Good.
That's better than not. Other questions for town manager? Roy? Old business, I don't see any. And I don't see any new business except for the budget review, which is next in line, so. Are we gonna, are you texting him now? Okay.
He was on his way, and he had a football game he's going to, but he said he would be here for this.
So, as it is the next thing and the only thing on the agenda, you wanna go ahead and start and just give an overview and we let him catch up to us when he gets here, or we can hammer him with comments at that point.
Well, it gives me a good opportunity to talk about.
Explain these sheets?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, just before the meeting, I put a couple of very colorful sheets in front of you. Looks like that guy. And then the capital budget plan is also in front of you there. But what I really wanted to talk about, which is a difficult thing we deal with, are these two sheets that have our budget numbers on there. What Public Works does, their labor, which is what you're looking at, the total labor for Public Works that we have to pay, it's their salaries, is how we break that labor out across all all of the lines, right? So summer work, winter, public buildings, public equipment, hydrants, cemeteries, transfer station, a little bit from Muni Airport, the airport work, as well as our sewer and water lines. Every year I take the total lot of money and then take a 6-year average and then allot those funds across those lines. So if you look at there's a fiscal year 26 on that budget, that shows the percent of money that's going towards the total DPW salary. That's the total percentage going towards summer work. So 39% of our salaries go towards summer work. Fiscal year 24 was also 39%, right? So we're just taking the average over time. This is why sometimes you'll see we can use hydrants as a good example. So in fiscal year 26, we see that went up to 3%, while in fiscal year 24, it was not 0, but very close to 0. We anticipate doing more hydrant work, so that percentage went up. But overall, we take an average. So when you see some numbers up and some down, that's why we're taking average of where salaries are actually spent. Does that make sense? Every year I try to make this more clear, and every year I make it more confusing. So.
Once you sit down over coffee and really look at it, it makes more sense.
But I did do I do my own little graph to make sure I'm kind of on target. And the difference this year as opposed to fiscal year 24, everything is within 1 or 2%, except for hydrants and sewer. Sewer was actually down 7% and hydrants was up 3%. So we're pretty much on target where we should be.
Good.
I'm drawing a blank. TS.
Transfer station.
Thank you. That's a lot.
Yeah. It's a lot of guys though. That includes our cemetery guys, Joe Festa, all of DPW, Bud Bowen. It's everybody, Jim.
Yeah, higher end of the pay scale too as well.
I was looking at it earlier and I can't find it.
For the actual DPW budget, just the highest of high levels, the DPW budget is actually down, as it sits now, down 2.49%. And you'll see some of the labor lines like summer work. Summer work is down a little bit, while public works equipment was up about 10K. So.
While we're waiting for Nate, can we talk for a few minutes about something when I was looking at this budget? I also looked at last meeting, Joe handed out a capital reserves piece of paperwork. I was curious what the rest of the board members thought of. I'm thinking of past budgets that we've done, that we take and we beat each other up a little bit going through each of them. Then we finally get to December where we talk about capital reserves. By that time, we've come in and had department heads ask for the world, we've cut them back, and we got there, and then we look at our capital reserves and say, geez, we got no money left to put in there, and we've been putting for like 3 years. A lot of them, we're really hurting in the reserves. What I was wondering if this time, what your thoughts were as we're doing this, that when we do each of the groups, like DPW, and we start talking about, hey, can we take a little out or whatever? Taking it out is not taking it out altogether, but thinking in terms of like on public works, vehicle and equipment, on the capital reserves is down to, I don't know if that 51,000 is a real.
That's a real number. That's
a real number, okay. It's down there, but if you looked at last year, we probably didn't put anything in it. I don't know if we put what we put in it. We had quite a few of them that we zeroed. We had quite a few that we zeroed out in order to get
We zeroed out all of them.
We've zeroed out just about everything is what I'm talking about. What I want to do is, we don't have a whole lot of money, but if we're able to find savings in this -2%, I'd like to try to earmark, like if I can, for example, if I can come up with $10,000 worth of the numbers here that we can save on DPW, I'd like to earmark $10,000 over here, just put it there to say it hasn't totally lost on the DPW, but we're finally getting, it's a way of getting the capital reserves back working again and getting a certain amount going there. And I was just curious what you guys thought about that approach.
I 100%. I think we should.
Yeah, I don't think we can afford not to
I mean, we
come up
need,
with some money.
we need to put money in our, get our, we took, for all the right reasons during COVID and everything, and we took and we brought what we were putting in reserves right down to zero, and I think we did everything but one line item. We put 10 grand into
Streets and sidewalks.
streets and sidewalks.
That's the only
We
thing.
need, we need to get back
Yeah,
with,
we can't do
with
that.
some money coming out for different things. So when we talk about, we're gonna do public works tonight, but when we talk about, when we do the fire department, when we do the police department, we think in terms of how do we, rather than waiting to December and saying, well, we've squeezed everything as tight as we can, now we gotta come up with some money to put in the reserve accounts. I don't know if that might be a little late in the game, and maybe we can make it easier on ourselves a little bit. I just didn't know what you
It's not a stupid idea at all,
so.
you know. I mean, the first thing that jumps out is, you know, the salary.
The salaries?
The salary is down. Well, it's not down, but it's, I'm sorry, it's not down, but it's, down from the request, I guess, or from 25.
Oh,
So, but it's also, if you look at the actual fiscal, you know, we only used 116, so there may be some wiggle room there. Why not? Don't say that to me.
Stop, no.
I'm on your side. If you say it to him, we'd understand.
So we have to pay, so this is the hardest thing to talk about when we talk about
I know that
salaries.
it's split out.
It is, but so if you take $10,000 from a line, that's $10,000 that's not going to somebody's salary, so you've not budgeted your salaries. That number is the total salary for Public Works.
Right.
If you cut any of these lines, you're cutting somebody's salary. You're cutting their salary out.
Right.
And we're obligated by the union to pay that salary.
Okay, I see.
You can move that money around, but you can't just slash it out.
Okay.
And what took me a while.
It's too bad, because there's some serious money there.
It just moved.
But and when we looked at this overall, we'll go line by line once Nate gets here, but it's one where it looks like if one went down somewhere, and the ones I like to use is sand and salt and gravel for wintertime. If you look, we were using, we decided to use less salt and more gravel, but that's because of the way the freezing rain was a year ago. So it looks like salt was way down and gravel's up. So when you look, the same money's there, but it looks like it shifts.
Yeah, it's not gravel, it's sand.
Right.
Yeah.
Even though it's called, yeah, it's sand, but even though they call it gravel here. I'm just saying that there
Yeah,
could be
sand,
some different stuff. Just talking in general, before Nate gets here too, if we're on page 1, and you look at the bottom of the page of 030 on the 56.20, outside ditching. I sat here in quite a few meetings, Rich, and listened to you talk. Ditching's important, we gotta do ditching, and there's absolutely wasn't anything there. So one of the few times, and you're gonna be in shock, that I wanna put something there. I got, once we get Nate here so we can find out, I'd rather have him here to talk to us, and here he is, so your timing is perfect there, Phil. You knew I was gonna steal some money from you, so you came in right at the right time.
There's not much money to steal.
There isn't, but I, you know me, I'll squeeze that penny until it cries.
But outside ditching would be another vendor coming in to ditch for us. The the addition in-house is already in the salaries and in the equipment. Automatically, it's just how they plan their work.
Well, and here's I'd be telling you that if that's the case, that's probably why we don't do enough ditching. You gotta pull it out, if you're gonna give it attention, give it attention. Pull it out and put it there, and that makes you say, what's the plan, what are you gonna do? If you're doing this right here, it's costing this much money, and when you do it as just general work, you mean it. You know, everything's well-meaning, but there's always a fire every day to put out, and you don't necessarily get to get there.
Agreed.
So, again, we'll come back, but I got a proposal for putting a little, not a lot of money, but putting some money, a little bit of money there, but I wanted Nate here to talk about where I was gonna steal it from. It doesn't change what the bottom line number is. The other thing we talked about, Nate, before you came in here, is any money that we're talking to try to slide out here, we want to take it out in one hand and hold it so that when we have the capital reserve discussion in December, and we have to talk about where is the Public Works capital reserve equipment account, which is pretty low, how are we going to get some money in there? And I think we'll have spent all of our money if we wait till December to put money in there. So what we're gonna, if you hear us talking a little bit, that's what we talked just before you came in here. Hey, can we do, if we find a few thousand, can we possibly hold on to an earmark it towards capital reserve later on? So, okay,
Okay,
with that, you wanna,
I'm just gonna start line by line like we always do. And if there are any comments, either from Nate, Joe, or any of the board members, just holler, or I'm gonna keep going down the line. So, we're at 5,100, started off, Public Works salary, not a lot we can do there. Public Works overtime, this is admin. Any questions there?
No.
Going down to summer work.
Is there anything in Public Works overtime? Mine says 0.
Same.
well, that's,
It's
if you're talking,
admin though.
that's admin, not overtime for the
Not-
Public Works people. That's
Yeah.
someone, that's
Oh, okay.
having a pencil pusher, put some overtime to pencil, I'd rather have them push a shovel. That's probably probably an over dramatization of that. I'll pull back on that.
Getting ahead of myself.
Yep.
Okay. So, I'm back at summer work.
Mhm.
Same thing with salary. The overtime question,
Yep, 4,000.
is that light?
Where are we at on our budget with that?
Currently,
Yeah. And I wonder, does, as you're finding that, does this proposed overtime follow the 6-year trend? Because I don't see any overtime on that 6-year trend chart.
no, I don't track OT on the 6-year trend, I only do salaries.
Okay.
Oh, that can't be right.
I-
Maybe it is right. We're on summer work, we're currently overexpended at $4,800. We're $800 over budget on summer work overtime for this fiscal year.
And that's the 4,000, right, Nelson? Is that
Which we
because, Nate, you're using overtime to cover that you've been short one person for a very long time, and in order to get the work done, people have to work overtime?
Yeah, it's covering up the person, that, and there's just so much, to do, even with the lack of help, even if we had another person, there's just so much, we're always behind.
Right,
It's just nonstop.
but
Does that 4,800 cover from July 1 until the end of this summer? And then we have to think about the
Yeah.
second half of summer on the June end?
There will be a little bit on that end, yeah. We'll be moving into winter work here in
But-
this month and next.
but I like the idea that we keep the 4,000 there. I thought also, we were hoping that by switching in the summertime to the 4-day week, and we could be more efficient and therefore maybe not have to use as much overtime. Now, maybe that was just wishful thinking from a cheap guy like me, but I was hoping. But the bottom line, that 4,000, I'm comfortable with that 4,000 not staying level, not changing it from what we put in, even though I know we spent, when you look at your actual, but that just tells me, okay, maybe, I know there's always work that needs to be done.
Does
I
that
don't think we go
does that
over
10,000,
I-
is that part of the, when we had the blowout?
We
Or
had the water main break and everything else. I'm just saying that, right, there was enough flyers there. I don't wanna get where normal is 10 grand in overtime. That's just running it's not a good way to run your business. And so I think 4,000, I should be there, and we should try to live to that 4,000. Long-winded answer to your question, Chad, but that's just me.
Any other comments about that?
No.
Let's move on down the line. Holler out if you've got any kind of questions. And it does say gravel, doesn't it?
Yep.
Down here, which is the sand, right?
Yeah.
Are we talking apples and apples here?
Yeah, but before you get to gravel,
Sure.
if I can have under 030-511-021.30, which are the signs, we actually, I see we put 1,000 in for 2025, want to increase that to 2,000. We've gone from actually spent almost close to 3,000, 2,800 in 2024, but only spent 361 and 50 cents. I'm just saying, are we trying to catch up on all of our signs in 1 year, or are we, I'm looking at that saying, okay, we anticipate spending another 2,000. I know we ordered a bunch of signs. Are we anticipating, Nate, ordering a bunch of signs again?
Yeah, I was just wondering, we skipped, like calcium chloride and paint.
Oh, okay.
Are we,
We skipped those because we didn't have a problem with what the numbers you had there. If you've got,
okay then, so I just didn't know what to,
no,
okay.
Essentially, we're just, if somebody's got a problem with the line item, we'll talk
with
about
us,
it.
with what we've got in front of us, unless you, if you like it, move on. If you don't, if you've got a question or clarity, then that's why we're picking them up.
Yeah.
Well, I got a question about the calcium chloride is I had it so in like in mine, I budgeted for some inlays because we sprayed dirt roads.
Okay,
So that's where the chloride comes in, either the flakes or you buy the liquid form and spray Chevy.
can we take, under your winter work, can we take out of your salt? And, where it says, you're proposing $60,000 for salt, that you, make that $50,000 and put the 10,000
Well, you
back in, or whatever. I don't know what calcium chloride sells for.
We have a calcium chloride line item in winter.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
So you have 1,000, why wouldn't we, okay, so are we trying to get it in two places?
Because it's two different.
No, 'cause you got, well,
One's summer and one's winter.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, yes.
you're putting the calcium chloride so you don't have dust.
Yes.
Okay, now I'm with you. You're doing dust, you're doing dust control.
control.
So, cause I didn't think, but what do we got for dirt roads?
We use a lot of it, like for the airport road and,
Do you-
we got 6 miles of dirt road.
Brooklyn Heights?
Well,
Brooklyn Heights Airport Road and the up off the end of Sheldon Road is our dirt roads, right?
well, we got like Lewis Lane.
Lewis Lane's not
Crittenden,
maintained by the town.
Huh?
Lewis Lane's not
Or
maintained.
not Lewis Lane, I was thinking of Lee, you know,
You can maintain it.
Crittenden.
I'd be happy with that.
Brooklyn, Marhar, Woodland, Taconic, Highway 14. I know, I think, Big Roll.
This way, that way.
This way,
So
that way,
it-
huh?
It looked like in 23, we didn't put any salt on the road, calcium chloride, right?
We probably took it out of a different line item then.
Well, I'm just looking at what's here, and it said, we put in the budget 1,500, and then we spent $35.97. So are you saying you wanna put $100 for calcium chloride or $50? Because it doesn't look like we're using it. I'm just,
We must have just took it out of other line items. I mean, we have 2 tanks down at the garage that are 3,000 gallons apiece. And it's usually $1 a gallon.
then if we put it in the other line, you understand where I'm going?
No,
I don't wanna double pay. Yeah, I'm not saying don't put it on the roads, I'm saying if you already got it, if you're getting it done, it looks like you're getting it done somewhere else. Continue getting it done.
Yeah, if you wanna take all of it out of wintertime use, then that's more than fine.
If
doesn't
that
show
1,000, but that's not showing, here the actual is showing,
Zero.
in the wintertime is showing 0 as well.
Which can't be, you know,
So that's the only thing I'm having,
well, that's a counting problem. They're using it.
and is it showing up some,
Yeah, so I think we gotta.
Unless they were taking it out of salt.
unless they just took it out of regular salt,
Oh,
and that's,
regular salt.
and that could be why, when I looked at a wintertime salt, that looked like a pretty good-sized number. Even that, we only actually used 38,000, and we had 70,000 that we thought we'd use, so I'm still,
Yeah.
That goes by, I mean, the year though, I mean, you can't predict.
right, because I looked back at fiscally 23, that 70,000, you were pretty close to that back in the actual one, on 23, so I didn't look at that as a huge flyer, I just,
Let's settle the question is, do we wanna put something in that line item, or do we?
I don't wanna put more, if it's been getting
done.
done in what was there, the only reason I put something there is show me where I'm taking it from that's already in the budget, because I don't wanna spend it twice.
Yep, I get it.
So what are we knocking back to put something there? And I don't know, what are you recommending you need to have put in that line item?
We use that, like I said, for dust control, and we use it for spraying the roads, and the flakes themselves, I mean,
But are you using 500, 1,000, 2,000? What do you use, how many dollars worth of calcium
we usually
chloride?
burn 2 tanks a year, roughly. But
In the
that's-
summer.
That's, well, when it rains, summer,
Okay.
it all depends, like, it's like it's hard to answer, really, because I don't, you know what I mean? It all depends on storms, how often it rains in the summertime to keep dust down.
It makes sense to me to not put it in the summer and just steal it from the winter. If that's okay with you.
Because we don't have to put more money, because
Right.
we're not spending what we
Yeah.
have there.
Let's do that until you run into a problem. But I think that's an accounting deal, and it's not that big of a deal. It's the same, it's coming from the same place, it's just, we're charging it all the winter. That doesn't sound like a huge.
I'm gonna circle that as we had some discussion, but.
Yeah. Anything else? Anything else we can shoot you down on?
No,
I've got 030-511-022.00 repair and maintenance supplies. That we had 7,000 down there, we spent 5,600 fiscal '24. I wanna bring that 7,000 back to 5,000 and take that 2,000 and hold it for, in that little kitty we talked about for capital reserve, start building the pot.
They use more than
And
5,000.
and when you start talking repair and maintenance supplies, Nate, could you give us, what are the repair and maintenance supplies there, so I can get my head around what those supplies are that we're spending?
that's what I'm just thinking of right now. That ain't just for the small for the equipment, I think. Right, Joe?
No, that's not equipment. This is stuff like hay for when you guys put hay out to grow grass, or boards to use for framing around concrete. It's those small supplies you use to do the work on the roads.
Oh,
Because, and the only reason I say, it looks like it jumps from, I only have 2 data points, but it looks like it jumps from using 10,900 to 5,600. There's a big, in 2 years, there's a big difference, and I'm going, okay. There aren't gonna be many opportunities to pick up some money to put in our capital reserve. There's one opportunity. And I wanna recommend we take 2,000 out of that and make that $5,000. You still have the $2,000, but I wanna put it in your capital reserve, is all I'm
So
saying.
instead of 7, we're gonna do 5, and then the 2 is gonna go in capital reserve
Yep,
At this point, yeah.
at this
at
point.
this point.
I'm just throwing it out to,
It's reasonable, if we can get away with it. You're gonna stick that,
then come down to 511022.40. It's gravel, maintenance supply gravel. It says we want $8,000. We used 1,253.
23.
We had the 23, is it my understanding that's when we had the water line break and everything, and that's all the gravel? That's a lot of gravel we have 6 miles of dirt road. I'm just wondering where the gravel's going. That's a lot of gravel. And I was looking at that 8,000 being more like our budget for fiscal year 25, $3,000. In other words, I want to take $5,000 out of that, put it with the 2,000. Now we've got $7,000 in our capital reserve. That's my thinking. And feel free.
hold on, say
Yep.
that again.
I want to take. I want to take.
The proposal is 8,000,
The
right?
proposal is 8,000. I want it to be 3,000. I base it on that we had 3,000 was our budget for fiscal year 25. We had a flyer for that 22.9. The only other actual I have is $1,253. Those are pretty big swings.
Well, yeah, they are.
And
How's gravel as far as price? Has it gone up a lot, or?
It's gone up a little bit.
Not
I had to
bad,
look at the
okay.
things for the tonnage. But we use gravel for anything for the water and sewer, the shoulders, the roads, or, for the
All you do.
grading, and the gravel's for multiple.
I
purposes.
hear. Again, I'm not saying you don't. I'm just trying to find where we take the money that we had in here.
So why don't we, so
we
instead
put some-
of bringing it down to 3, why don't we say 5 and then the remainder put in towards capital reserve? So because that accounts for,
Oh yeah.
Going-
I mean, there's nothing magical about the 3. Take and make that 5,000 if you're not comfortable. If you think 3,000 wasn't quite enough, and make that 5,000, and we put 3,000 with the 2, and now we're at 5. I'm okay with that too. I just want the discussion. I don't want
right, so
you.
if he's saying that, gravel's gone up a little bit and I'm sure it's going to go up again and they use it for multiple things.
So without being able, not trying to plan for that big flyer out of the ordinary, because it's pretty hard to do.
Right.
I'd say, but let's give it.
Go at 5.
Let's make it 5K. And so we went up 2,000 over the 3 that we had for fiscal year 25. I'm okay with that.
So, we don't know how we're gonna end up at 25 yet anyway. Is this 3,000 gonna be a fair assumption?
Currently, because we've been doing a lot of shoulder work, our current budget is, we have 3,000 in the budget, we've spent $4,700. So you're $1,700 over currently.
And then when I looked at this one right here, I was scratching my head, Nate, saying, did we get up on Bigelow Hill Road and did the rain wash all the gravel away and we had to put a ton of gravel back there? Is why this year, or
The gravel, a lot of that stuff too is like the outside, for like the ditching too, though, the stone, like 6-inch stone, all the ditching stone.
So
That gravel covers like a whole different line item.
Sheldon Road to Bigelow Hill Road, there's got all kinds of stone and ditching and everything, you're saying that, but that's done now.
So knowing that, do we want to we'll go to 6 on that instead of 5?
Well, I'm not ready to go to 6, I'm saying we had some money, so we spent it.
Yeah,
And then we've already got it done.
The thing, like, well, you still got, like, the ditching and stuff like that never ends. It's like, we were on Highway 14 a couple weeks ago and we dug all that and stoned it, and hopefully Scotch Hill, if the grant goes through and,
But-
you know, we got a ton of ditching and stone, because that gravel covers a lot of the shoulder support for the 6-inch or bigger, the stuff we get from, Champlain, the big rock.
See, yeah, I hear you, but when I go to jump from 3,000 to 8,000, $5,000, okay, tell me what you're doing. I'm doing this road, I'm putting X amount of gravel and it costs this much.
Yeah, but it's not-
Saying that,
But it's not.
But it's not just the gravel, it's the stone.
oh, or stone,
Right.
okay, I'm gonna go do this road and it's gonna cost me for stone ditches, but I don't see that plan. I'm just saying, put the money and we'll kind of figure it out. I don't, figure it out and I'll go find you the money, but I don't wanna just throw money and say it's there, now we can do it. Again, it's not gonna get us money for our reserve. I just think,
So,
whether that's 5 or 6,000, I think there's money in there that we can take out.
so we're at almost 5,000 right now, this year for 2025, and we budgeted 23,
But
correct?
did we do stuff out of the ordinary that we weren't normally gonna do?
It's the maintenance that we need to do that we haven't done.
So it's stuff we put off.
We put off for years and had to go and do?
Yeah,
Okay.
not to drag the conversation longer, but to make the point that this kind of stuff it's like the tree we talked about a couple weeks ago. It's like, we're not gonna put money in there, and then the tree comes up, or the ditch needs to be relined, and then it's like, we gotta go find money somewhere. And then I'm $5,000 in the hole, and I'm $7,000 in the hole, and then we're over budget, and it's like, why are you over budget? It's because there's 7,000 and 5,000 in the hole.
All I'm looking for, here's the plan, here's what it costs, work to the plan. What I'm uncomfortable with, I don't see the plan.
But I don't think with this there is really a plan. I think it's kind of it's a regular maintenance thing.
I can't be that specific?
Not with this, you can't.
No, it's kind of, it's like we did, 80 feet of culvert up on Waterhouse, we used the gravel and stuff for that.
Well, that turned into quite a project.
It just
Yeah,
kept
I mean,
growing and
like all that
growing.
stone
That-
through
But
there.
was that a flyer? I don't wanna build in the fact that I had something that I went and fixed. It drove the price up here. So now this is the new watermark for the price of what we have. I'm saying, we can't afford that.
Well,
We still got stuff
you
like
still gotta
that,
do it
so-
though.
I,
You still gotta do it.
we still have choices.
You still gotta fix the road,
So
so,
I have a bank that
so-
slid in on Scotch Hill right now by the Roberts farm.
I know.
Still haven't got to yet.
Filled the culvert right full, that bank?
Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
we've seen that full culvert, where it slid right down, and where you used to have a culvert there. I understand. So what are you saying you're not comfortable with us taking anything out of there?
well, we could do 6. You suggest-
I would think 6 or 6,500 and put the 15 in that reserve would probably be
I'm just looking to get a little money.
somewhere reasonable.
6,000?
We still got, cause we're almost at 5 right now. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And the year is not over.
So, let's do 6 and see where.
6? So there's 2,000.
I'm okay with that.
It's better than not. We're better than we were.
No, that's gonna give us another 2 down here.
So we're at what, 4, right?
For 4 right now.
We're 4 now. The next line item, 030, and holler if I'm taking too much airtime, guys.
No, I think this is very important.
035110023, small tools and equipment. I'm looking at the past. $4,000 is a pretty big hit. Barring the discussion, what I was looking is turn that to 1,000 and take the 3,000 and move it down under outside ditching. So I've got $3,000 for and when I looked at outside ditching, I was thinking some of the money that we're talking about, that for the gravel, the stones for the ditching, and the slide in front of the culvert at Roberts's, that's what I thought outside ditching was. I wasn't looking at outside ditching. You're talking, it's not outside outdoor, it's paying someone to come in and do our ditching is what I think.
Well, that's what I anticipated.
Which one are you talking about? Tools and equipment, or?
Well, I'm
All
talking
tools and equipment.
affecting two different lines. I wanna take money out of tools and equipment and put some into outside ditching. You know how we sat here a month ago, Rich, or 2 months ago, and talked about, wouldn't it be great if we had a full 3 days a week we could go do ditching?
I agree.
That never happened.
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna happen, so I think our ditching's gonna be some of that we're gonna do, but some of it we're probably gonna have someone do the ditching. That's that, if outside ditching means paying to outsource it, can't do outside ditching unless you got some money set
Okay,
aside.
so what
for
do you
it.
wanna do?
I wanna take the 4,000, change it to 1,000 under small tools and equipment, and put the 3,000 down at the bottom. I asked the
next
question.
line down?
Yep, I asked the question of why 4,000, because I heard that we were looking for a new tamper for sidewalks.
Well, it's for another jumping jack,
Huh?
another jumping jack.
Yeah, and I'm saying,
That's for, well, these sidewalks and culverts
and I'm saying, it'd be nice to have, but if I'm gonna prioritize, do I get a new tamper, or do I do something about our ditching that keeps our roads that we are losing?
Yeah, but you need the tamper to compact.
We have a tamper, right? So we're getting an additional tamper.
Yeah, to double the time, that was the reason why I
But-
put it in there for.
And if we, and then I'm just throwing out, I know there's more I don't know than I do, so you can tell me I don't know what I'm talking about, and I'm okay with that. But buying a tamper that we may use if we put a sidewalk in ourselves and tamp it, or going out and having someone put the sidewalk in, they already got the tamper. I don't need to buy a tamper. I've got X amount for streets and sidewalks, and I'm gonna have them come in and do my 75 feet or 100 feet of sidewalk. I don't need a tamper either, right?
But we put 10 grand away to do our own sidewalks, so, for the
We-
town people are doing that now, or the town.
Well, see, but we have 10 grand, so we could do our own. I'm saying, what would 10 grand get if we went and did the other stuff we needed to do? Because when we're doing sidewalks, there's a lot of stuff we're not doing. We're not ditching, we're not able to do quite a bit of things.
Yeah, but
So where-
that goes with anything though, I mean, if we're out grading, then we're not doing this, or.
But
we're out-
I understood, but I'm just saying, if the answer is we do it all ourselves, and we gotta buy a bunch of equipment, so we do it all ourselves, I'm not so sure we're the most effective, are we the most efficient people to put sidewalks in?
I don't think that we have got enough help to do that.
We don't have people to do it in the first place,
That's what I'm saying.
so we'd have to
I think-
outsource.
So let's get back to the line here, so we can
Well-
at least go forward. So your proposal was to take that 4,000, that is, make it 1,000.
Make it 1,000,
Put 3 down at the other purchase services,
Yep.
correct?
No.
that's my proposal.
No, that's not what you're proposing, moving it to ditching.
I'm moving it to outside ditching.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Again, because I know it's not a popular thing when I say sidewalks aren't a high priority for me. Ditching, roads, water, sewer, that's a high priority for me. And we put $10,000 into sidewalks, we put nothing into ditching.
Okay, so
We're
that-
losing roads all over the place here because we don't have the right ditching.
3,000 there, okay. All right.
I'm just,
Everybody okay with that?
I'm just throwing that out.
This is the first time through, so
Yeah,
believe me, this will not be the last. But these are reasonable proposals, you're not getting crazy on us. Yeah,
yeah, and I'm trying not to get crazy, I really am.
I appreciate that. Anything else?
Nope.
So on the next line, other purchases and services, what's that include?
That's 23.
there we go.
2,300, or I mean 23. Where are we?
Goal
50
three is 51,
56.
5,600.
5,600, I'm sorry.
I just would kinda like to know what that includes. How we purchase services. I'm thinking.
Rich, I don't know off the top of my head, but I can get you,
Is-
I can tell you what we
is-
have.
Does that include like striping?
Is that the people who come in with our storm drains and blowout or storm drains that we have to pay for?
No, the striping comes out of paint.
You know that answer, Nate?
No,
Is it street sweeping? Is it,
It could be
is it-
anything like that.
because I thought it might be,
What about your water main break?
That's something different.
it looked like it was level funded, so I didn't have a problem with it. It was the only, when I saw the 45, and it looked like we were actually spending,
Well, it'd be easy enough to just find out.
Yeah, I'll find out and
What
send
we
the board,
paid,
but
what
yeah,
we used it last time.
Because the reason this sticks out at me, in 2024, it was $6,000 budgeted, and we actually spent 3,500. The following year, 25, we budgeted 4,500, and I'm not sure what we've spent at this point.
What was it? It was.
other purchase services.
56.
56.
51, 51, 10, 56.
511056.
So I just, depending on what that is, and what we've spent, there may be some money we can save there to put somewhere else.
Yeah, currently we have no expenditures out of that line.
We haven't spent a dime.
No, haven't spent any money at all.
And we're halfway
Good
through our
point.
season.
Good point. Is there some money that, that can be had?
Is it a
You're about-
springtime adventure or winter
Is that a
adventure?
spring?
Yeah,
Well,
I'll have to look it up. I honestly don't remember what we were taking out of it.
let's keep it there, but that looks like an
Possible
opportune moment. I have a question on the paving, the next one, the outside road work. What, if we added 13,000 to that, make it around 200,000, what does 13,000 extra dollars do in that line?
I talked to Tim, they're around 41, we took, roughly the bad section of Scotch Hill Road, was about roughly 4,100 feet is like the worst, the whole road is bad, but anyways, there was around, a little over 240,000 for 4,100 feet.
And that includes what, Nate?
That's, road tilling, bowl magging, and 4 inches of asphalt.
Same thing as we did on West
West
Park
Park
Place
Place.
this year.
That's why we're not just going at it and.
Right, we
and
can't.
We wanna.
We need the
wanna
class
do it
2
right,
paving.
Cause we've done it wrong in the past and we're not gonna do that road wrong again.
Yeah.
Right.
240,000 by 4,100 feet?
Yeah, 4,100 feet, 22 feet wide.
Is that good?
15,000? I don't know if it's good, it's just, I guess a benchmark, how much feet do we want to?
How many feet you're gonna do?
Yeah.
Because if you end up having to do it yourself, you gotta have a dollar amount put in, yeah. I understand what you're saying.
So I'm all for going as
More.
much as we can,
Yep.
but
I wanna see
in
where,
sections.
before I start adding money for additional paving, because I'm hoping we get our class 2 paving grant and our big paving project.
What does it say?
It's gonna be, I think we have 2 things that are gonna happen in paving. Scotch Hill
Okay, gotcha.
and Airport
Yeah.
Road, when they get done fixing between the highway, how that's all, Airport Road was supposed to be done 2 years ago. We keep pushing it out because we don't wanna put new pavement and then tear it all up when we,
Right, but what's
When
more
you get-
traveled though? I feel like Scotch Hills.
oh,
Is-
but if you haven't been, Airport Road, once they fix the water problem, the state is going to be coming in and we're gonna have to fix it.
Airport Road's a dead end road essentially, basically. It's Scotch Hill. I mean, we talk about Scotch Hill every meeting.
Oh,
You know,
I'm just telling you that Airport Road was prioritized to be done 2 years ago. We pushed it out for 2 years. We could push it out another year. And I'm good with that as long as we still have work that needs to be done, because we're not gonna put new pavement down and tear it up.
Right.
Well,
I-
there's
But
gonna
if
be
we
a
keep
lot of,
holding our breath for that class 2 paving
I-
grant, might never
I'm
come,
not,
so we gotta.
I'm not sitting
we
here
gotta- yes.
confident that we're gonna get a
no,
class
I
2
would say
paving
that
grant.
we
gotta
we
start.
gotta put Airport Road back because there's gonna be a lot of construction vehicles going up there. There's gonna be Green Mountain Power is gonna be up there. We can't, you're right, we don't wanna do, they're gonna nasty that road up hard
They are.
before we get a chance to fix it. And maybe we can get a little contribution from both of those people.
I don't know if we
as
answered
well.
your question, Bob.
Well,
After they pounded it, before we fixed it,
What's that?
when you wanna wait after they pounded it?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what we're saying.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we don't wanna put money,
It's a state.
let them,
They're not giving
we
these
go
guys-
put new stuff down and they beat the living heck out of it. It's, I don't know
Well, I
why.
didn't hear a whole bunch of enthusiasm
No.
to adding 13,000, so we'll.
No,
No, I mean,
no. At
The
this,
problem is.
if we have 13,000 extra money and we get all done, I.
See, the problem is we're well over the threshold of 200,000 a year and we haven't gone there, we haven't gotten there yet. We keep staying 180, 175, and the truth of the matter is a $200,000 worth of paving isn't a lot.
It's not a lot. It doesn't go very far at all, as we can tell.
And, so we gotta start thinking that at some point, we're probably more realistic as 300,000 and settle on 200,000 and 250, but we're not there yet.
Yep.
It'll be your guys' problem after. So,
On
okay,
page,
so we're moving on.
page 2?
So we're raising it up to 240?
No, no.
I would.
No, no, we're not. We're gonna have a hard enough time, folks,
He
getting,
wants to
we're gonna
be
have a
elected
hard
again.
enough time when we put this final budget together to be
No,
where we.
no, we're not.
Oh.
No, we're not. And I want you to stop thinking like that because it's negative Nelly stuff.
Money doesn't grow on trees. We can't have this tax and spend approach to the
It's
budget.
not tax and spending.
It is,
No, I'm not
and
gonna
it's
argue with you.
reckless.
That's
I
a
just-
terrible argument.
Well,
It's maintenance.
I-
It's not anything but
I
maintenance.
just disagree with you.
I know that.
We can do a lot better.
You two need a timeout.
No,
Go to your corner.
no. We just got two people on different ends of the spending scale. Someone thinks it grows on trees.
So did we
I
agree
don't
on
think
50?
I don't think that at all.
It's staying right where it is, right now, the pavement.
Yeah.
So if we do find some money down there, maybe we can add to that.
School, when it wasn't Slate Valley, when it was Fairhaven Grade School. Every year, we had 3 or 4 different reserve funds. And every year, those reserve funds went through with no problem. Why can't we do the same for the town?
Our town budget only passed by 3 votes, and in our reserve funds, we zeroed everything out except for $10,000 for a sidewalk.
I think
If we want to continue to get a voted down time and time again, because it will,
It hasn't been voted
it
down.
will get voted down, Bob.
No, I don't think so. I
Yes.
think,
People are more willing to say, hey, we're doing the smart thing, we're putting a little bit of money away now, so that we don't have to put a big expenditure out.
it's,
People,
see, the thing that I don't like about that is we don't govern by referendum. So Castleton puts every line item on their,
And have the
their
voters-
vote. So you have to vote on every single line item. And it's a terrible way to run.
It is.
town.
There's no way you could possibly
Yeah,
understand every line item. If we didn't have $350,000 of appropriations, we're arguing over $13,000 to get us to $200,000. But we throw $350,000, close to $400,000 a couple years ago on appropriations.
Yep. And that's,
That's, what I struggle with is how in the heck can you run a town like that? I just don't
I
know.
agree, and
It's very difficult.
Oh,
I can tell you.
I,
and it's money that we don't have, but
It's just a philosophical argument, that's all. I mean, I just don't like the idea, the state of Vermont, the Vermont towns, nobody runs on referendum voting. Out west, that's all they do. And nothing gets done.
Nothing will ever get.
Nothing gets done because once you vote on one thing, somebody else comes up with a petition to recall that vote, and it goes back and forth forever, and nothing gets done. This is representative government, we're the representatives, and it lays on us to do that, and that's why we knock down.
That's why we beat our heads together, but actually, at the end
We're
of the
not
day.
that far apart.
At the end of the day, we're not that far.
No.
Yeah,
I just
I
thought
agree.
it would make,
It lays it on other people too, but it's just difficult to budget that way, and I don't think it's the right way to go, personally. I don't know how you guys think, but I'm just saying.
I agree. I think it falls on us to spread the word about how we reached our budget conclusion, and the fiscal responsibility that we have to not only keeping costs down today, but planning for future.
Yes.
Right, and if we can be more transparent with folks out and how we talk about our budget, and if folks are willing to come in and listen to this process, I think they'd see, hey, we're cutting it down, but we also want to, save ourselves the trouble in the future. It's not like we're buying frivolous things.
I think the reserves are very important.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
And I think we're gonna have to bite the bullet this year too, even though there's no place to get it. But I mean,
You're cutting it down and you're really looking forward to the future though. I mean, that's
Right,
my
it's
opinion.
not-
I mean, if you're cutting everything down so bad, I mean, how can you say you're planning for the future?
right.
Well, I think we want to be operational now, right?
Yeah, but like right now, it's like you're just trying to hold on to everything.
Yeah.
Like you're still looking forward to like if we didn't get grants, there'd be no projects in town. You know what I mean? Like there's no self-help. Like everybody talks about Scotch Hill, but we don't help ourselves to do Scotch Hill. We know the pricing, but it's like we just talked about, we're gonna keep the budget at $187,000. But when we ask townspeople for $50,000, a couple times the last few years, it gets passed automatically, because they want extra people.
I don't know, I think the reason it gets passed when you ask it on appropriation,
Well, 'cause they say-
people think that money's already there somehow, they don't equate
Well,
that to their taxes for some reason or other.
We're getting into
Yes.
philosophy here.
Can we,
No, it's fine.
can we,
It's
get
a
on
good
to some,
It's a reasonable question.
can we get into summer work?
I don't see why not. Are we still in summer work, or are we out of that?
Do we have some trees that we're planning
I
on?
was gonna say, are we gonna, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just seeing the increase in tree removal.
Yeah, we added an extra 5K in tree removal, so it's up to 10,000 now.
Do we have trees already identified?
Yes.
And
So
one tree costs
It cost us
$11,000.
11,000 to do, that's why you didn't hear me jumping up and down to try to cut your tree. I'd be hypocritical if I said take it out, so.
And there's also, we have been since I've been here inspecting the trees in the park to make sure they're all healthy and then trim it up as needed, so some of that money will go to that.
So 10,000, is everybody good with 10,000?
Because the 5,000 we have in the budget, we've already overspent, we had to overspend that in one.
Oh, yeah.
I understand that. Should that be a little more?
And that's why
We don't, at the risk of sounding rude, just because somebody comes up and says, hey, that tree needs to be cut down, does not mean we need to cut the tree
that
down.
we need to go.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So we can pick at it year to year.
I understand that.
Yeah. I've had one young man come and tell me that we need to cut a tree down in the park for the last 7 years. And it's like, I'm not cutting that tree down. It's not ready.
So we're good with 10 grand?
I'm good with 10 grand.
Just curious, when you do cut down a tree, what happens to the wood? Can you sell it? I mean,
I think the town guys usually get it, don't they, or?
We Well, last one's we just give it to the landowner.
Oh, well, the landowner, get that, yeah, but I mean like one in the park or something like that.
We've sold firewood before.
I know we have before, I know we did up on Inman Pond.
That was a big pine, so it wasn't,
Oh, okay.
and they hauled it
Yeah.
out, so it wasn't like nobody was.
Okay.
I'm just gonna say that.
Well, I was thinking more of the stuff in
Some of
the
what we've
park.
done, not very good firewood.
No, I was thinking of
No, the last
maples
one
or
on West
something.
Street, thing was that locust, I think,
Yeah,
they came with a log truck or something like that, and they took it out of there.
yeah,
Mhm.
That was a while ago.
okay.
Winter work?
Winter work.
I had two
Go
that
ahead.
I highlighted. One was 030 5140 21.10 salt. Cause it showed 60,000 that we're proposing. Last year's budget was 70,000, but we only spent 38,000. We were 70,000 in 23. My question, Nate, was more, and I highlighted it, not saying take money out of it, just to ask the question, is it because we changed the way the winter was, and we used more sand and gravel and less salt? Because it looks like we didn't use,
No, it's definitely the opposite. We try to get away from the sand. We use more salt, but we just don't have the winter. It doesn't stay as cold as long. It's just not the same as it was 15 years ago. For salt users, I mean, we use the pro mount and stuff like that, the pre-treat roads and all that, stuff like that.
so is,
Snow and ice, we use the salt.
so is that 60,000, can that number be a little bit lower? We're sitting here looking at the forecast for this coming winter out there.
40.
And they're saying, little, probably, are we planning for it to be similar to last year, colder than last year? I mean, I'm just saying,
Well, usually these numbers are like a 5-year average or something like that.
so we're saying last winter was really the flyer. See, I don't know, I only looking back to 2023, I know we
Use 70 and you
but what got me, we've had about 3 warm winters. And it looked like in 2023, we spent close to 70,000 for salt, but we only spent 5,800 for gravel.
I don't know about you
So
guys.
it looked like you switched.
I was down salting more than anything last year in Bolton. Any freezing rain or anything or pre-treatment, I spent more time salting than I did plowing last winter. Just because
it's the sand in the salt, not the gravel.
So that 18, so when I look at under the gravel, because the two I have is the salt and then the 22.30, which says the gravel, we've been using right around 6,000, but we actually used 18,000 in gravel. And so I'm saying something out of the ordinary happened. Why aren't we putting 6,000, taking 2,000 out of that? 'Cause it looks,
Where are you talking? We don't use gravel for salt,
That's
for
what
roads.
okay, then what is that gravel in the wintertime being used for?
I don't know.
I don't see gravel in the winter time. Okay, maintenance.
Winter
There
work,
is-
030 5140-22.30.
I don't know your numbers, I'm not, 58, okay, I see, okay, now.
And so I haven't seen sand written anywhere, so I figure they use the word gravel when they should be
Right
putting
under
sand.
salt.
No, the sand is right.
Oh, sand's there,
Up
okay.
there, so that,
So for some reason or other, there was a flyer, or back in 23, something out of the ordinary, but it looks like the way we put the budget, 6 grand is the right number. It jumped to 18 on winter gravel, and then we moved it up 2,000. And I'm just trying to understand why we do that.
so, are you okay with the sand and salt? 'Cause
I'm
they're
saying
two
I
different
want
arguments.
$2,000 taken out of the gravel line. If you don't take the 2,000 out of
That
that, I want it
goes
taken
to-
out of the salt line. Because and that salt line, I'm trying to understand why we're not taking probably 10 out of that.
I don't know about that.
the 3 and 6 year average for salt is like $58,000. It's pretty consistent. I mean, last year was a blip, but
So,
it's
So
pretty
I'm-
consistent.
so I'm back taking $2,000 out of the gravel.
18,000 in the winter, 22,000 in the summer. That's a lot of gravel that we've been using. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I made a joke with Joe of something when I'm trying to understand the gravel to say, geez, are we letting these rains wash the gravel right down? There's gotta be a big pile of gravel somewhere. If we're putting it on the roads and the water's washing all in the pile, I'm visualizing, let's go get the gravel back that's been washed off because we're putting a ton of gravel down.
Bank wash.
But all I'm looking for is, can we take $2,000 for that money that we're sitting aside? I think you had 4, 2, and $2,000 again, we're up to 8,000. It looked like it wasn't a stretch to change 8,000 to 6,
We're up to 4.
the same that we had in 2025.
So if we take that out, then you're up to 6 for your reserves or whatever.
I think that's a safe cut.
Take 2,000 out of the.
Out of the gravel line.
Out of the
This is summer work. Now we're in
winter
Down
work.
here, we're taking
You're in winter work.
2 out of here.
Why do we need winter gravel? That much? We're not,
That's what
we
he's
got more
saying.
for the winter than we do for the summer.
Well, something out of the ordinary had to have happened for that 18,000. That looks like a flyer to me.
I don't understand that.
And I'm just saying, looking at how we did the rest of it, I would expect that we'd level it at 6. I'm not ready to say throw all caution to the wind.
Hold on, guys, let's keep it one conversation at a time here.
If we put it to 6, I would recommend the 2 that we're saving, put it into calcium chloride. We're using 2 trucks of calcium chloride a year, and we've only got $1,000 budgeted total.
But up in winter, where we're not spending anything,
Well,
we said it's
We do though.
winter and summer. It's these
Isn't that-
But-
2 truckloads throughout the year. So why does it matter if it comes out of winter or summer? It's all being used. It's being used throughout the year anyways.
again, I hear you saying we're using it.
How much
It's
is
gotta be coming out of somewhere.
How much is a tank of, you use 2 tanks of calcium chloride, say 2 tanks, what's that cost?
The one with Pro Metal is roughly around $1 a gallon.
How many gallons in there?
There's 3,000 per tank.
But we need to budget for that someplace.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
again,
that's
I come
$6,000
back to the
that's $6,000.
explanation that we've been doing it somewhere and it's coming out of some place and I don't see the place. That's what's bothering.
yeah,
Probably salt.
nobody's asked my opinion, but I think it's probably coming out of salt.
I think it's
I
coming out
think
of
they've just
some.
been taking it out of salt.
I think
because
that,
it's the same
that
thing.
huge amount that we have up
Yeah.
here, and even though it's only 38,
Okay.
it's coming out of salt.
Yeah, I wouldn't stress out.
And if, I have no problem with putting 2,000 under calcium chloride, like you were saying, Chad, as long as I come back up and say, well, okay, and now I wanna take 2,000 out of salt, I'm still gonna get 2,000 to put in the reserve. I'll take 2,000 out of salt then. Because we only used 38,000, we had 70 before, let's take 2,000 out of that and let's do 55,000 for salt instead of 60.
Can we, from an accounting perspective, just put calcium chloride in with salt and remove the calcium chloride line?
I would love that.
That would be good with me.
It's, when talking with Nemrick and dealing with this budget, there's a lot of lines that we don't need. They're all just, for some reason, boards in the past wanted to break it all out.
Salt to salt.
Like realistically, salt and like your sand, come that
I'm good
and
with-
calcium chloride. I'll be one line item. It's all
okay
it's all
with that.
used the same. You know, instead of breaking it down.
We'll just leave it at,
But then, if you take that out, that means I get that $1,000.
yes, you do.
And no, I get that $1,000, I get that $1,000.
$1,000.
Leave it at 60, leave it at 60, take the 1,000 from calcium chloride.
And I'm
You got,
limited.
and you wanted to do 2,000 on the gravel, right? Down to 6, so
That's correct.
there's,
three.
so that's 3,000.
There's
there.
$3,000.
And the gravel was moved to 6.
Yes,
That's in winter maintenance.
yeah, which may be high,
The reserve.
which is a good place to juggle later.
Okay, and then sand. 13,000 in sand. We have got an awful pile of sand down there. Do we even need that this year?
Right, did we just, good question.
What's your thoughts on that, Nate?
No, I wasn't planning on ordering anything.
You was not planning on ordering any winter sand this year. But yet we're gonna put 13,000.
We're gonna put 13,000, why don't we,
Why don't we take that 13,000 and put it in reserves?
Why don't we do this?
Or
Just-
paving.
Why don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's.
Yeah, there's
like
13.
there's some,
No,
No, that's a great
Yeah.
point. That's a
you
great
said you
point.
wanna start, we should start being closer to 250, that's
Yeah.
13's a
The
good.
thing I would caution against
But we're not.
that, you're gonna have to buy sand sometime, so, you know, if you add and subtract it, it's a
I'd
rise
like
and
to
a
see-
lower, so you
eventually
get a
we're gonna have to-
percentage increase.
Right.
So why don't we do
take
this?
20,000 out of that and put it,
Yeah, instead of,
or-
what do we got there
where-
in sand now?
No,
We've
the
got
13,000.
13,000. Why don't we go way low this year, say 5,000, just to keep a placeholder there? And take the 8 and put that in.
because when I look at the actual of 8,000
Yeah.
right here, take that 13, make it 8,
Okay,
and
and
take the
put the 5
13,
down there.
take the 13, make it 8,000, I'm proposing, and that way there, you've got 5,000. The 5,000, put it with what you have, and I think you're pretty close to that 10 that I'm looking for the reserve.
No, you're 12 right now.
Yeah,
Or even better yet, we might, I mean,
we might
not,
get, well, we're gonna, I don't wanna burst your bubble, but we're gonna add some money to the reserve accounts no matter what.
I will reserve.
Even with your,
I will reserve my comment on that until we get, because there's not only what we were handed out to look for reserve, there's that one pager where we said, here's the mins and max.
yeah,
I may agree with you when I look and see where we are in the mins and max.
yeah.
Overall, it's not, we've got two things to do. We've got some money in there, but we've got to start putting money into a lot of accounts that we haven't been.
We're gonna have a reappraisal.
But we have to look at our cheat sheet that we've used that
Yes.
says, here's the minimum
Oh,
amount
I
and here's
agree.
the maximum
I'm
amount.
fine
And where
with
are
that.
we?
I'm fine with
I
that.
might, so
Anyway, so we're gonna put
Are you
that 5
clear?
down there.
we're putting the 5 into our capital reserve? Perfect.
So sand is gonna go to
8,000.
Mhm.
and 5,000 is going in reserve.
That's correct.
Okay.
This was at the 12, right, total?
And I'm good on page 2.
Anybody got anything else there?
Where's the 5,000 going, or what was it?
Reserves.
We're holding into that, DPW equipment reserve account that we'll talk about in December, but it's gonna be your money, but I just,
It's gonna be.
we're setting and pulling it out here,
Yep.
so we got something to give you in your reserve account.
Okay,
Yeah.
Public Works equipment. All right, I'm sorry, did we do all the building?
I'm good with
No, we don't need those.
no building, but I left them all the same.
We're on the same page as you.
Okay, so we're going to 3, we're going to Public Works equipment, we're gonna keep all the building stuff as is at this point. Okay? And start talking.
First one is more of a question, I'm not looking to take money out, but when I look at the public works salary, and Joe did a nice job of trying to tell me how I got an increase of 52.2% on that salary, I just, you wanna share, or someone share that with us? It's an accounting thing, how we do
Sure.
that?
So this goes back to, the average, how much we spend each year over the last 6 years. This did go up a little bit, well, it went up 52%.
Went up
That's a little bit.
by quite a bit.
That number is big, but let's see. Your public works equipment, if you look at the over year to year,
Yeah, the 6-year actually.
yeah, it's 9% this year and it was 10% in 2024. So it's actually down 1% as compared to the whole salary. You see that big increase because we are doing more of our work in-house now, even beyond just the general maintenance that the guys are supposed to do. They're doing that little bit more advanced work. So if they got to replace some big cylinders, or I don't know if we do we do our own brakes?
It depends on what it is.
For the little trucks, not for the big
Like
trucks.
right now, we put a brand new plumbing in the skid steer, so.
Yeah, so
Stuff like that.
it's that kind of stuff. It saves us money from taking things to the dealer or to a shop.
So if we were to take money out of that, all you're doing is shuffling it one way or another. We're not gonna
It's gonna go to
affect it.
repairs and maintenance, or
Right,
it's gonna
so-
go
so
outside
I'm-
purchase services, or whatever you wanna call that.
I'm good, I just noticed it
Okay.
was a pretty good increase.
Anything else on public works equipment?
No, not for me.
Okay, hydrant replacement is, it looks like you're gonna do some work there.
Yeah, 39, let's do 5,910 hydrant salary. I'm looking at a bunch of small numbers, but what we're proposing is 10,000, just was looking for an explanation of what that was.
But that, I wanna get on the program of replacing some of these. Cause we got hydrants in town, especially on the south side, they're the old, quarry hydrants that have been outdated, we can't even get parts for. That means like caps, stems, anything, so once they break, they're out of service and they're no good.
Well, it's
So,
not-
like either, cause like a Mueller right now, last time I priced one of them out was like $3,500.
Mm-hmm.
That's for the hydrant, so that's not even breaking ground. So, I mean, there's a lot.
Well, let's not get behind in that, that'll cost everybody insurance.
Yeah.
We used to do,
They
used to do 3 or so a year.
Yeah, it was like, 2 or 3 a year.
Yeah.
but that's-
Is that 10 grand doing 2 or 3 of them a year?
It's 3,500 apiece, so that would be just shy of 10 grand.
But that's just for the hydrants and stuff.
That's just the cost.
That's what I'm saying.
That's not the salary.
That's not the salary for,
Doesn't count
see,
salary
only reason I highlighted it, saying, I know the hydrants are important and we need them, we have to do it. I was just looking, the numbers seem so small,
Cause they haven't been doing
less than $500.
it, but they haven't been doing them.
And we're going to now put 10,000,
Yes.
when we go and do them with our short staff, how much realistically are we gonna be able to
Yeah.
do? A
Not
couple,
everybody hired it out, that's.
or
what
we,
I'm saying too, but-
or that, have someone put them in, cause I'm not saying it doesn't need to be done, I'm just,
Is there a balance that needs to be struck between salary and equipment in this section? 4,000 in equipment, if we're gonna do some replacement and repairing, 6,000 in salary.
if we hire it out, what are we doing paying salary, right?
It'll just still come out of there,
It'll
right?
come out of that account?
Will it come out of that salary account, or?
I don't think so.
No, it shouldn't.
Technically not, no.
No, I see, it looked,
So where you got,
it
let's
looked,
say if we start doing it tomorrow, where you gonna take it out, is water lines, distribution?
I don't know.
I mean, that's come out somewhere.
Used?
We got one down in the garage right now.
Okay, so you need to buy two.
So I know you guys do work for wastewater and water. So, but why does the water department have a line item for hydrants? Why not? That's water.
It is, they have a line item for water lines, but the hydrants, for some reason, have been stuck into public works.
That should go to water. That's water department. That's not. I mean, I know you guys essentially would do that unless they're hired out, but that's a water department thing, not a. That's how I look at it.
Which is maybe why we don't see any equipment or machinery and equipment cost in this one. Because you're looking at 70, or you're looking at what? What'd you say, 35?
Fire department.
35
Well,
apiece, so $7,000
Not
worth.
necessarily. So
You've got one, so you need two more if you're on that schedule.
painting hydrants.
So is that in the water
We do-
department,
we-
or?
I
I don't think it is.
I missed
Fire
the
department
question.
does nothing.
The cost of the hydrants themselves.
Right, because the water department flushes the hydrants. They do all the maintenance on it. That should be a water department thing.
But I'm wondering if the water department treats our DPW as an outsource, that they're outsourcing to DPW, and
Right,
that's why it's showing up here.
The hydrants,
I think.
Right there.
for some reason, the hydrants are always in DPW budget, I don't know why.
Right.
So, but they
Well,
don't-
then that's why
they're not
that's why I'm
showing it.
asking. That's
Yeah, I don't
to
know
me
why.
that's a water department thing. I mean, I know
Makes
they
sense.
got the equipment to swap it out, but that's water department.
I think you're right.
Because if you guys don't flush the hydrants, right, Nate? That's water department.
Well, last year they did it, but usually we do
Why isn't
hydrants
water
are
department
used
flushing the
by the fire
hydrants?
We're changing
Yeah.
some things.
So it's public
Okay.
safety.
They need-
Water
they
and
need
sewer
to-
are doing their own
they-
things now.
It's a
They
public
should
safety.
be.
Oh, yeah,
Right.
okay.
They should be the.
Okay.
Last couple of years.
Yeah, I was to say.
But
What Chad says makes sense too.
what's that?
It's a public safety item.
Oh, I'm not saying
The
don't.
fire
do it.
department has to use it.
I'm not saying don't do it. I'm,
Well,
matter of fact,
that's, well, that may
Oh,
be.
I think that's why it's
why it's
in-house with
DPW.
DPW.
I just would
That
like
makes
to see
sense.
the,
Makes us
oh, the only reason for the
I was
10,000,
gonna save us money versus hiring it out.
keep the 10,000 in there, but I
The way
would
the department
want to, somehow there's gotta be a plan to, we're gonna replace 3 hydrants. Don't care whether we send, we tell, we get someone to do it because we can't, or whether we do it. But we sit here next year, there should have been 3 hydrants replaced. If there isn't, then why, we shouldn't have put 10,000.
Have we replaced any hydrants this year at all?
There has been no hydrants replacing this now since 2017.
Hasn't been a hydrant replaced since 2017, so to me, everything I'm hearing absolutely needs to be done, but absolutely need to, here's the plan, right down to who's gonna do it, and they're gonna do it in this, during, this quarter, and we're gonna do, whether it's 2 or 3. The fact that we have, not looking to get caught up, and we're not gonna get caught up in a year, but I think we ought to take our, I hear we got some pretty bad, 2 or 3 really bad ones. We probably
We'll do them. Let's.
should get them done.
Let's
You got
keep
the
it
okay
here.
to go get them
Let's
done.
keep it here until we can come up with a.
Better way to,
The other end of the deal is we need to come up with, money someplace in some part of this budget for 2 more hydrants that we don't have. We got 1 down there now, right?
When we get to the water department, we can look at their budget for that,
they might have some
or the fire department.
hydrant. Yeah. I agree. There's everyone's gonna feel an equal amount of,
Well, I mean,
This may very well be a good area where we could outsource this work.
I just took a class up in Barry with EJ Prescott on hydrants. That was really good.
I mean, it's public safety, it's very, very important. We really shouldn't put it off.
Yep.
So,
agree.
and maybe that's the idea, is get us an estimate or a proposal or.
From Webb's or
From Webb,
Prescott,
somebody,
EJ
yeah.
Prescott. Or
And you, whatever it is, you're gonna have to, it's gonna have to be bid anyway, so, right? And then we know we gotta budget that much money outside purchase services, and we'll just do it that way, and then we can readjust this salary. But anyways, let's do that.
And the rest of it's, I'm good with the rest of it.
Don't really have a choice, so. Okay, first chop. That wasn't too painful, was it?
And the number you came up with that for potential, DPW reserve total? 12,000?
I had 4, 6, 7, and 5, it's 12,000.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that's a start in the right direction.
Planning Commission zoning.
All right,
It's okay.
we're done with that for tonight. Let's move on. Anybody got anything in the parking lot they need to talk about?
No.
We already talked about the equipment fund and stuff like that.
We're not gonna do that tonight, are we? Or, we'll do that later in the budget, but so far you got 12,000, but it's gonna be more. Wait a minute. Are you all right? You're starting to seize up there a little bit?
He did, he clinched.
When we look at the,
Smelling toast or
we
anything?
look at a couple more documents and see if the case is well built, yes. I'm willing to discuss it.
We'll get to you. All right, so nothing in the parking lot. Board roundtable. Rich,
I don't have anything.
Mike,
All right, so as probably some of you don't know, or if you do, I work for the Village of Portland. I am currently in the water treatment apprenticeship class with Vermont Rural Water. Been taking an exam prep class down in White River, and one of our water operators in this town is currently in that class, but not in the apprenticeship program. I've got a handout from my instructor on what the apprenticeship program is. I've been kind of talking with her. I talked a little bit with our operator, and I feel that it's something that we should look at to getting Jeff into. So no decision needs to be made tonight, but it's just some information on what the cost is, what the benefits of being in the apprenticeship program are. It's helped me tremendously. I've been in about a year. Besides the OJT stuff that I get from work, having Vermont Rural Water offer this class, I get a computer, I get access to countless trainings. So I think it's something we should look at to get Jeff Higgins into, to help him out, help him get over that hump and get his license. And if you guys have any more questions, I can get Paula Jackson, who's the instructor, to come in Zoom, or she can come down to a meeting and explain it more. But this is kind of a breakdown of.
Have we gotten our chief operator in the water plant involved too, so they know?
I haven't. This is just the first.
I'm just I'm just looking. Part of an apprenticeship program is you've got the hands-on portion. So there's I don't want to go jumping out in front of my chief operator in the water plant and I think it's a great thing, but I want to make sure that we've got.
I mean,
all
if
the
your
players
chief
lined up.
operator if he doesn't want to be a part of that, what does that say about training your employee?
I'm not saying you want or anything. I'm just saying that that I don't want to.
I mean,
I think the time to
GE
involve
help.
the department that you're going to use is up front when you're planning and talking like right now.
Right.
We need to get a copy of this and talk to our chief operator. Don't we also have
that would just follow. This is just an initial
Right,
thing.
this
I don't
is
think
just-
it's worth.
Right,
dragging
no,
on.
but this is something that I think we should look into to help
Yeah,
our trainee out.
agree.
It's only gonna benefit
So,
the town and us.
We have a trainee. See, I'm just trying to understand where we are. We have a person working up there now that's going to classes, and you're
he's-
looking to make them an apprentice.
No.
He's in the exam prep course, but he's not an apprentice in the apprenticeship program. So the town's paying for the classes he's currently in.
Yeah.
This would access 258 hours of training.
Yep.
It's online, books, laptop, and it gives you access to discount codes for any credit hours that they put on. The Vermont Rural Water puts on hundreds of hours of credit courses a year.
I mean, this is a great thing. Don't get me wrong. But I'm just saying. So when they come in and talk from water about their budget, there might be, because if there's monies involved in this.
Yeah,
That's a good thing.
3,000.
That's all I'm just trying to get
3,000 broke over 2 years for the class.
Okay.
I mean, and like I said, if we want to discuss it more, I've talked with my teacher about this. She says she's more than happy to come down to a meeting or come in through Zoom because she is up north.
It's probably, at this point, it's probably a meeting between Joe and Mike and
I would say it's Joe,
should
Mike,
be, yes.
Joe, Mike, and Jeff.
And Jeff, yeah.
And
Yeah.
I don't know where
where
And
they're at.
then come to us with. a
Right, because
proposal.
they'll work out, because I'm sure
Right.
there's certain responsibilities that the
Right.
operator's gotta track down, it's like
Right,
any other.
yeah,
finished
I've
program.
gotta do it. I've gotta enter my hours in. I'm supposed to do it every week. It's more like
But
once
it's
a month because I forget about it. But usually she'll send an email be like, "You're behind on your hours." But no, it's just something I think we should look into to help our trainee get us certified. Because that the exam is very difficult. So any help, extra help, and Paula's she's come down to Pontley multiple times in the last year to help us, especially before we take an exam. The state offers it twice a year in the spring and the fall, or you can take it through PSI up in Burlington, Keene, or Albany, pretty much whenever you want. But most people do it through the state 'cause the state's like $40. PSI is $106 a whack for a computer. But with PSI, you know your results instantly. State takes about 6 weeks to. So.
What a surprise.
Right.
Good.
But there's
For
some
40 bucks,
food
there's a
for
difference.
thought, and yeah, that's what I've got.
Anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay. Believe it or not, I haven't done anything either.
How about some expenditures?
Okay,
You can sign
we'll be. Okay. I'll make a motion to pay,
I didn't know you were here already.
no, I just didn't wanna jump the gun on you.
Do it.
I'll make a motion to pay the payroll for $36,665.05.
Second?
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Right?
Those opposed?
Make a motion to pay the general warrants for $96,040.13.
Second? All those in favor?
Right?
Those opposed?
Checkbook status is $388,436.46.
Thank you. Okay. Executive session, or?
For personnel.
I'll make a motion to go into executive session for personnel under 1 VSA 313A1.
All those in favor?
Aye.